episode 632 of Good Luck High Five.
You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you are psyched to get Dragonstormed on.
Oh man, I'm get Dragonstormed on, nerd.
Or Final Fantasy is more your speed. We're here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And on today's episode, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you might notice that we are experimenting with a fancy 3-camera setup.
Whoa.
I know. So listeners, if you've never watched our YouTube channel, get with the prog.
Megan, there's one camera you can't look at, so stop looking at that one. It can't see you.
Don't you just because you can't look at it, you just
exactly.
want to?
I just did, and I was like, that camera
That's
cannot see me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
YouTube.com/goodluckhighfive. We're going to talk about a lot of upcoming stuff that's headed down the pike at us. One of those things is Tarkir Dragonstorm, as Megan said.
We want to make sure that Tarkir is getting the love it deserves.
It deserves so much. You know what I mean?
So we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we really loved about Tarkir the first time around.
Yeah.
I could already start. I already want to start talking about it.
It was so good.
It was so good.
No pressure. A lot to live up to, Dragonstorm. Just saying.
We're also going to go ahead and finally get some flavor text theater Ether Drift in.
What's Ether Drift?
I know. The question everyone's asking.
Sorry.
What is Ether Drift?
It's been out for 2 weeks and everybody's moved on already.
I know. I think everyone had moved on before Ether Drift came out.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We're also going to talk about, speaking of moving on, talk about Spiderman because they previewed Spiderman cards. And so we're going to let you know what those are all about coming up too.
Time never stops.
It doesn't. It keeps marching forward like a train.
In some cases, does it even start?
Wow.
I don't know.
That's deep.
Or just demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of science.
Man, you ever think about what if we had a fourth dimension? You know?
Maria, there is a fourth dimension.
I'm not talking about time.
But
yeah, okay. Fifth dimension? What do you want? Whatever you want to say.
Anyways, what were you going to say?
I was thinking of the object that you can look at that approximates what it would be like, if there was another dimension, but we just can't perceive it. You know what I mean? Because we're so simple. Our brains are simple.
Our
3D.
brains are so simple.
And I saw a sculpture of it, and it was kind of moving because it's trying to approximate what it might feel like to look at this thing in an additional dimension.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like a Tesseract? Or is that just something from Marvel? I don't know.
Whoa. From Marvel? Excuse you.
I mean, from Magic.
I think that you mean the classic A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh.
How dare you?
It is a Marvel Cinematic Universe object, I do have to say. I looked it up.
Well, Wrinkle in Time came first.
A 4-dimensional cube. Yes. Okay. So I was right. That's what I was thinking of. And
some people have said, or my math teacher once upon a time was like, oh, you know how you can make the little outline, the little T outline and fold it into a box?
What?
If you were to draw on a paper, then the little, the 6 sides, and then you can form a little cube, you cut it out and form a little cube.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's the same thing, but if each of those, instead of being just one surface, was a cube, and you could fold all those cubes into each other.
My brain is leaking out my
4D
ears.
Cube. Anyways, we're not mathematicians.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. This.
That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's so trippy. Why did I even get started on this? Because we were talking about time. That's why. And once we open that wormhole on this show, we will go on
cannot
forever about it.
Well, anyways.
I can't wait till our physics show becomes our physics podcast right after we do our medical podcast becomes a thing.
Wow. If anything, I have more expertise in medical science than I do in physics. Yeah. Which is pretty alarming.
What a statement. But we'll hit all dimensions on this show. All dimensions of upcoming Magic sets, that is.
Oh, brought it back around.
Brought it back around.
Anyways.
Before we kick off our multi-dimensional journey on Good Luck High Five, we want to say thank you to the people who make this journey happen. And indeed, you pay for our spaceship that goes through the cosmos.
Yes. You pave our spaceship.
Our spaceship has pavement in it.
It has a floor.
It has a floor of
and
pavement.
You are what is making the floor happen.
Patreon.com/GLHF Magic. All of our patrons, we thank you so very much for supporting us each and every month of our lives. And every day, quite honestly. You can join at multiple different tiers, all the way from $2 to $20 a month. You get different benefits based on the tier that you donate at. And we thank you no matter what you're able to afford. You're still helping this show happen and paying for people who might not be able to afford it as well.
It truly means so very much to us. So thank you so much to everyone who has been a patron, will be a patron, or is currently a patron. Or if your
like
beliefs
thinking,
about time align with our own, then you are all three of those things at once.
The same time.
At once.
Oh man, I can't wait for this podcast. We're going to say so many things that are wrong.
Oh, arguably we already have.
Some people would say that's what we do every week.
Yeah.
But also then they're going to realize that they were right in like 30 years, you know?
Whoa.
Do you ever think about this? They didn't even know what a germ was 200 years ago.
Alarming.
We are in the stone ages of humanity.
Yeah. And the Stone Age of humanity was the Stone Age.
And we're already destroying ourselves.
Anyways.
In the Stone Age. Anyway, save it for the other podcast, Maria. Let's talk about Tarkir Dragonstorm.
What?
Everyone, it's time for the randomizer, where we head to scryfall.com, hit the random card button, and try and guess what the card does based on the art alone. I found a very good one for Megan, which seems eerily relevant, which happens far too often on the randomizer than I would say is random chance for it to be relevant to our discussion today. Megan, you'll see what I mean in a few mere moments when I show you the art that the randomizer has randomly selected for you to view. I just want you to tell me what you think of when you see this.
Well, if it isn't my old friend Siege Rhino.
Sure looks like
except
him.
it is not Siege Rhino. This is obviously art from an older set, but it is like uncanny the way that this looks like it would just be the earliest version of Siege Rhino.
It's like Siege Mastodon.
Yes, it's
Siege
like
elephant?
a very big elephant, except it does have 4 tusks and then like a lot of additional bony protrusions on its head. Like it has like a triceratops vibe also, but also a very long trunk. And kind of, it does look very rhino-ish also. It's like elephant plus rhino.
Yeah.
Plus some other like more prehistoric big guys. Anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got
Elephant,
you.
rhino, triceratops situation. And there is someone riding it.
Yeah.
And it is carrying a lot of stuff, which is why it's like a lot of like equipment and stuff. So that's why it really does look like Siege Rhino. So I'm going to call this creature Herald of the Worst. Because it's heralding what is to come. The worst.
The worst Siege Rhino.
Yeah. I'm going to say that this is it's 2 green white. It's older, so I'm going to say it's 2 green white for a 3/4.
Yep.
And when it enters the battlefield, it makes you feel bad. It puts a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 things.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see how close Megan
Herald
was.
of a bad time. That's what I'm calling it. Herald of a bad time.
What P&T did you give this? 3/4?
3/4.
You're so close. It's a 3/3.
I almost called it a 3/3.
But guess what?
What?
It's costs 1 green.
Whoa.
This card is Trained Armodon.
Okay.
And it's a vanilla 3/3 elephant.
Wow.
That's
Herald
it.
of the worst.
That's it.
Yeah.
First printed in 6th edition.
Whoa.
So, you know, kind of old, but still, what stats for the time, I must say.
A summon elephant.
Interesting. Yeah.
All right, Maria, here is yours, a newer one.
Ooh, beautiful art here.
Yeah, this is great. I love it.
Do I know this card?
I don't think so.
Okay, what I'm looking at is a woman who's standing in the front of the frame. What is she doing? She's using her hands to like cast some kind of ink magic. So this makes me wonder if this is in Strixhaven. And what were the ink students?
Shadow Quill. Silver
Quill. She looks like she's silver quilling. Behind her is like a giant spirit wolf of some description. Made out of the ink. So she's casting this wolf. She's making this wolf happen behind her. But don't worry, there's more wolf action on this card. Because in the left-hand side, there's a green wolf that's also been cast by somebody, but it looks like it's made out of jade glass.
Yeah. It looks like the fractal.
Yeah,
It's
like
the
yeah,
little
fractal. Okay,
wolf.
so that's the one from Quandrix, and she's from Silver Quill, right?
Yeah.
So this is for sure from Strixhaven, and the name of the card is Inky Puppy.
Inky Puppy.
That's my favorite ska band. No, this one is called Final Draft.
Oh,
Because she is a writer
it.
and she's figured out how to make the wolf with her magic. And it's a Silver Quill card, so it costs a hybrid white-black mana and 2, and it's a 3/2. But Final Draft is the name of an instant for sure, not a creature. So what am I designing here? I don't know. You make a inkling. You make an inkling, but it's a wolf inkling. I know that didn't happen in this set, but that's all I see on this card.
All right. It is from Strixhaven.
Yes.
But it's from the Commander 2021 set.
Okay, that's why
which is why I didn't look familiar.
Yeah.
It's called Bold Plagiarist.
I was so close to that name.
Honestly, yes. 3 and a black for a 2/2 flash. Whenever an opponent puts one or more counters on a creature they control, they put the same number and kind of counters on Bold Plagiarist.
Wow, okay.
So I think that's why there's the fractal in the back, because you would put counters on the fractal creatures. So this would flash in and also get counters.
And get the counters. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's plagiarism because you're just copying what somebody else did.
Wow. That art was also really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, for real.
Like the ink wolf and the fractal wolf are both pretty sick.
You being a wolf, how do you feel about this card?
I don't like the association of wolves and plagiarism. I think it's quite rude.
A wolf would never play.
A wolf would never.
Would just never.
A wolf would never. All right, Maria.
Yes.
Let's talk about Tarkir.
Let's. For the uninitiated, if you will, Tarkir, we're returning to this plane. It's not the first time we visited Tarkir. We visited it in Khans of Tarkir and Dragons of Tarkir.
Yes, so and Fate Reforged, which was in the middle.
Yeah, so this was back when we had 3 set blocks in Magic.
Yeah.
So we spent 3 sets in the same plane.
Whoa.
Don't do that anymore.
Also, do you remember when that happened?
It's weird. And then they went down to 2. And then they were like, just kidding, 1.
Wow. Now that I think about it, it's so wild.
It is weird because everything was similar and you got to spend a lot of time on the plane, so you became really familiar with it.
Yes.
But there were issues in that, like, say you got bored of it.
Usually one of the 3 sets was not
as good as the other 2. Yep. And sometimes the draft, what you would do is mix packs from the set. So
yeah, and they just would not operate as well together.
Yeah, jive as well as they should have. Yeah. Whatever. So I actually am in favor of the 1 set rotation. Yeah. But
so famously, I think Khans of Tarkir, when you were drafting triple Khans, so 3 packs
triple Khans,
tons of Tarkir. First one.
It strikes. It rears its ugly head again. There it is.
When you were drafting 3 packs of Khans, that was all about morph, right? It was about morph, and it was about those original Khans, which are where we get the names Abzan, Sultai, Jeskai, Mardu, and the other one.
Teamer. He was like, she's going to forget one.
Yeah, and obviously it would be Teamer.
I loved Teamer. How dare you?
I'm just saying that of all the ones.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it.
It was a fantastic set to draft.
It was so good. Triple Khans. But then it had the problem of Fate Reforged. Mm-hmm. It had the problem of Fate Reforged.
Fate Reforged happening.
It was not nearly as good. And then Dragons of Tarkir.
Yeah.
Which was better.
Yeah, it was.
It was better, but it was just not quite as Triple Khans was
you can't reclaim the glory
of the format. But the story of it, for those of you who don't know, because I feel like this is part of what was cool about Khans of Tarkir, was it did have a good reason to be across these 3 sets in its block.
That's true.
Which is that Khans of Tarkir was the current present day of that plane.
Right.
Where Eugene the Spirit Dragon came and vibed.
Yeah. That's what he was doing.
As we say, he came and vibed.
He was hanging out.
And Sarkhan was there.
Yeah.
And they were doing a bunch of shenanigans to try and, I think, go back and unmake Nicol Bolas or something.
Yeah, something like that.
For some reason, they traveled way back in time which was Fate Reforged.
Yes.
Which was creating a different branch of Tarkir.
Of the timeline.
So in Khans, it was all about the humans. And then there were also dragons.
Yep.
But the humans were in charge. It was about the Khans, which were their leaders.
Right.
Khans. And then Fate Reforged was like, we're going way back in the past because we're trying to, Eugene, the Spirit Dragon, and Nicol Bolas are doing some shenanigans to try and fight each other via time.
Great weapon,
You know,
if you can get
great
it.
weapon. Exactly. Great weapon if you can get it. And then that recreates like a new, right?
Yeah.
I think what it is that like Sarkin figures it out, right? He has to do something. And then that resets the timeline. And then it ends up in Dragons of Tarkir, where the dragons are the ones that are in charge.
Yeah.
It was just real. It was really cool.
It was a cool story.
It was
Sarkin
cool. Also,
goes mad.
Yeah. Sarkin was big mad. Also, the dragons in Dragons of Tarkir was 2-color.
Yep.
Khans were obviously 3. So it was just, right, it had like a cool storyline across that whole thing.
So you mentioned it was a 3-color set, generally focused on these wedges. And that made it very interesting as well, because draft format with 3 colors is notoriously tricky, but we had all of the tools that we needed to be able to make it work.
It was so good.
Including Morph, which is such a fabulous mechanic. And I can only assume it's going to come back in some kind of way or shape or form in Dragonstorm.
I don't know, because we just had a lot of face down.
I suppose we did. In Duskmourn, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
You
could be right.
Anyways.
But it was a wonderful, tricky game that you played because you tried to guess what the morph was that your opponent had. And a lot of times you could be right, quite honestly, based on the information that you could derive from the way they were playing the game, the colors that they had in their deck or whatever. And it was just very exciting.
Yeah.
For me, the emblematic card of that was Obzon Guide.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Absolutely.
This was the card that was like Khans of Tarkir.
It's because it turns over into a 4/4 lifelinker.
Yeah.
It's because it's a beast.
It's a beast of a card for sure.
So this was on its front side, 3 white, black, green. I just mean like if you cast it for a 4/4 lifelinker, but it has morph, and so morph back in the day, you could cast the card face down as a 2/2 for 3 mana, and then turn it face up at any time for its morph cost. Its morph cost was 2 white, black, green.
Yeah,
but this really helped this 3-color focused set, because if you didn't hit your 3rd color right on time, you did always have something to do.
Right.
You always had morphs. You could always cast your face down morphs.
Right. It was
and it
wonderful.
wasn't underpowered, because that was a lot of the game, was these 2/2 creatures.
Yes. So it was a great draft environment. I mentioned last week, I don't think I'm telling tales outside of school, when I believe it's your favorite draft format.
Oh, yes. So good.
It just was so great, and the color, the wedges felt so like they did the thing that they were gonna do. It felt like they were doing their thing. Teamer was big dummies hitting hard.
This was the first time there are some great mechanics in here that we have seen again. Raid. This was the first instance of Raid, which is the one where you get something extra if you attacked with a creature this turn. I think it was also the first time that we saw Formidable. Which is where you got something extra, or you could only activate the ability if you had total creatures with total power 8 or greater.
Outlast was the Obzon mechanic,
right.
where you could take a turn off essentially with your creature by paying some mana and tapping it to get a benefit. Like, for example, Obzon Falconer put a +1/+1 counter. Each creature, you just put a counter on it, and then this one, anyone that has the counters have flying.
There were just also, as I'm looking through it, there were just like some great uncommons in here.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yes.
Build around uncommons.
Do you remember? I just loved Bear's Companion.
Yep.
This was 2 green, blue, reds. This is a teamer card for a 2/2, but when it enters, you put a 4/4 green bear creature token onto the battlefield.
Incredible. I love this card.
Do you remember Bellowing Saddle Brute?
I remember all of these cards.
Oh,
I don't remember cards.
No, but that was Khans.
It's because they're so good.
Bellowing Saddle Brute was 3 and a black for a 4/5.
Yep.
It had Raid. When it enters the battlefield, you lose 4 life unless you attacked with a creature this turn. There was Become Immense, which was 5 and a green for target creature gets +6/+6 until end of turn as an instant, but it had Delve. So,
it's just
gosh.
like everything was so
just
good, so well balanced. So Dig Through Time came through in the set, so I'm speaking limited, not constructed.
Treasure Cruise.
Treasure Cruise, your card of all time was from
My card of all time.
Yeah, this set.
This was the first time that we saw the common 2-color lands that when they enter you gain a life.
Yeah.
Which was so
was
like that
huge.
was so important for the set, because you wanted to have 3 colors. So those were common. And also the life gain made these games longer.
Yes. So the format wasn't blazingly fast. You
Yeah.
didn't have time to do the cool thing that you were trying to do.
Oh, I just saw you looking at another card that I
love
freaking
all of them.
love. I know.
love all of them. I'm just scrolling and I'm like, yep, that card's great.
Loved
That
it.
card's great.
Like, loved it. I was thinking of you just past Goblin Slide.
Oh, Goblin Slide. Yeah, absolutely.
Where did he go? Where did he go? I loved him.
Mantis
Goblin
Rider.
Slide.
Oh.
Goblin Slide was an enchantment. This was the dream. 2 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
So you were just...
There's fun little mini games that were included. Like that card, there was the hexproof card in this set.
you would say that.
Where you could do some silly hexproof things with this creature.
Yes.
And just go to town. I can't remember its name right now.
Heir of the Wilds. 1 in a green, death touch 2/2. When it attacks, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Remember that guy?
Remember Savage Punch?
Oh, yeah.
Where target creature you control fights target creature you don't control, but if you have Ferocious, which is a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Maria, Ice Feather Aven.
Oh my god.
The dream. This was green blue for a 2/2 flying, morph 1 green blue. When it's turned face up, you may return another target creature to its owner's hand.
We could go on.
Exactly. Like it was just it was a great set. It was a great set.
So we're very, very stoked for Dragonstorm because of how great Khans of Tarkir was in the past.
Yeah.
Megan, I promised everybody that I would show you a card this week and hear your reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because
all right.
one of the cards, from Khans block was Siege Rhino, your most hated card of all time.
My most
and I
hated
just want
card.
to show you.
Yeah,
this,
why the hell would you do this?
This card's
you
Skirmish
can't
Rhino.
you can't show me this because I can't swear on this podcast.
You wanna see this card?
I don't want to see this card. I don't ever want to see this card. I don't want to think about this card. Who did this? My honest question is who did this?
To you specifically.
Yes. And also, like, why?
I think Gavin.
Probably.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you, no one wants this. No one wants this. Uncommon?
What
Are
is
you
this card?
kidding me? Uncommon? Like, yeah, do you know what? Like, let's take Siege Rhino and make it cheaper. Oh, it's only a 3/4, so it's okay. Yeah, right. Oh, your opponent only loses 2 life and you only gain 2 life. What?
What?
No, it's not fine. It's the opposite of fine.
It's unfine.
Supremely messed up.
This card.
Like, why would you do this?
Why would you do this to us?
No one's asking for this.
This raid is 3 mana for 3/4. Get out of town.
Get out of town.
Oh, there's more abilities? Trample?
Get out of town.
When it enters, it drains for 2? Get real.
Why? Legitimately? Why? Do you know, if you're gonna do this, just reprint Siege Rhino, okay? Don't insult me by giving me a different Siege Rhino. I don't want that. I don't want a different
I don't
Rhino.
need your charity.
I don't need you being like, it's not in the set. You know what you did.
Skirmish Rhino. Siege Rhino's baby.
Frankly, disrespectful.
I agree, it is.
If you're gonna hate on me with a boldness.
To my
okay?
face.
To my face. Don't run around trying to do it for 3 mana.
After we've just talked about how much we love this set,
Yeah,
we're just
okay. I
tearing
will
Siege
say,
Rhino
but you
to
know what?
pieces.
That's part of what made this set great. There's some stuff to love and there was some stuff to hate.
That's so true. You got to have both. You don't get a rainbow without the rain,
No, you really don't.
And Siege Rhino really was a heavy rainstorm for us all.
I just really, this set was so good. It was so flavorful, which I feel like is something to talk about, just on the other side of Ether Drift.
Yeah.
Which for so many people has fallen, I think, just shockingly flat.
Yeah, I agree.
Is what I would call it. It's
Ether Drift
shockingly.
is magic. What if magic cars?
And everyone was like, I don't.
It's okay.
And it turns out I don't care.
The identity of that wasn't strong enough to carry a set, I think.
Yeah. And this was just so much its own, like we were talking about, I still remember that story from it.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was so cool because there were so many great flavorful cards that went into each thing, right? Kolaghan's Brood. You had the Kolaghan's Command. Like, you had the commands for each of these
command
dragons.
cycle, yeah.
Back when it was like...
You had the dragons themselves.
Exactly. In the first set, when it was Khans, you had the charms for each one also. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, so I'm super hyped, and I know you are too, for what's already been revealed of the set. And previews are going to start pretty soon, which you may or may not know was happening because we've been talking so much about other sets that are coming out after Tarkir. But
also, I could already say that this ghost fire treatment is going to be a real problem.
I'm
positive. I want everything I own to have the ghost fire treatment.
It looks
like
so
it's going to be
sexy,
really good.
I think it's going to be rainbowy and beautiful.
Yeah,
I can't wait. They've just shown us kind of an image of it here on Tarkir Dragon Ascendant. And
why you would give it to Skirmish Rhino, I just don't under freaking stand. That one,
fair.
I don't get.
Fair.
Maria can see that I'm zooming in and out of it.
Zooming in and out. It's very funny. It's a very good bit. I'm sorry you can't see it because it's very funny. Yeah, sorry about that. I airdropped Megan's Skirmish Rhino at the PT, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah. We know we're getting a new Mox.
Yeah, Mox
Never
Jasper.
a problem when there's a
Never
Mox.
an issue. Yeah, Tyler was like, I think there's probably going to be some kind of broken changeling deck that somebody builds with this.
Yeah, there
probably
will be.
Probably right.
The
probably
last
right.
time, you remember the last time there was Mox Amber?
Yeah.
It took a while for the deck to come out, so it happened right before rotation.
Yes.
So it was only around for a couple of weeks, but it was so
eventually
good.
Somebody found it.
Yep, someone found the Mox deck. So.
I just think anytime you make a Mox, somebody's going to break it. I don't know. I just think somebody is. I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing that you can do. Because a Mox has to be a certain thing. It has to cost 0 mana. It needs to be a legendary artifact. It needs
has
to tap for mana. And if you have these 3 things, I guess you have a broken card.
Mox Jasper. This is 0 mana for a legendary artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control a dragon.
It's just like, is that drawback big enough? I'm going to say no, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm willing to be wrong about this, but my claim is that every Mox is broken. I
think that's a pretty reasonable thing to say.
That's my belief.
I think people are pretty on board with that.
Hot take.
Opinion.
Hot take. But like, don't sleep on Tarkir Dragonstorm. Like, who knows if it will live up to Khans, whatever. But I'm just, we want to see it getting some love here before it even comes out, because we're just so excited to head back to this plane.
Yeah, I really am thrilled.
And there's 5 pre-con commander decks.
Yes.
Which,
thank goodness.
Very
one
excited.
For each. One for each wedge.
We're going to make a Commander Arcade episode with them. And
of course.
We cannot wait to share that with you, because
if Abzan has Skirmish Rhino, I will.
You know it does. It's definitely going to.
It definitely is going to, isn't it?
It's gotta have it.
It's gotta.
It's gotta have it. So
disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Oh, please. I hope that gets played on our show, because I just really need to see that happen to you live on camera.
I'm so excited to play Jeskai.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
for sure.
The Jeskai, even just the Jeskai precon deck. Because I just wanted, it's all about casting spells. It's all about prowess. And all I want to do,
cast spells.
Draw cards. Draw cards. Cast non-creature spells, please.
That's, yeah. I knew this would be the one you would play, because...
Give me those instants and sorceries.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
We also know that the sieges are coming back.
Yes.
This was a card type. Yep. So we saw Baron Step Siege, which is 2 white black for an enchantment. And in this case, so the old ones, you would choose either Khans or dragons.
Yep.
And depending on which one you chose, you would get a different effect. And this one now has, so white-black obviously can either be Abzan, if it were adding green, or Mardu, if it were to add red. Right. So in this one, when it enters, you choose either Abzan or Mardu. Abzan, at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
Gross.
Pretty good. Mardu, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. Guess what? Great card either way.
Yeah, seems good. It's a rare.
Seems good.
Yeah, I'm excited for those to come back in a new way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a nod to the past while being something, a completely new game object.
And we get to meet the dragons who go with the Khans now, because originally the dragons were the 2 colors. And then in the Khans world, there weren't to them. And then when we went back, the dragons came and they were 2-color. But now there are both Khans and dragons at the same time. So we get 3-color dragons.
We've seen Baitor Ancestor's Voice. This is the Abzan dragon. It costs 2 white, black, green for a 3/5 legendary spirit dragon, mythic, flying and lifelink. Jeez. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to one other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Return up to one target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Wow.
Weird.
All right. So you could lose or you could gain life. Either way, you're going to get something.
Wowza.
Spicy.
That's a cool draggy.
Yeah. We also have Shiko, Paragon of the Way. This is the Jeskai Dragon. 2 blue, red, white for a 4/5 flying vigilance. When Shiko enters, exile target non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. Copy it, then you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Nice.
Wow. So is that a commander dragon?
I think...
So
no,
yours is from the set. The one
Yeah.
I just read, Baitor, is from the commander set.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to make sure people know that distinction because they've also revealed the Sultai dragon from Commander.
Yes.
So this is Tevel, the balanced scale. 1 black, green, blue, flying 4/4. Whenever it attacks, you mill 3 cards, and then you can return a land from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you make a 2/2 zombie.
Ooh, that also sounds up my alley.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So
nice. I'm so
cool
excited.
stuff.
I really hope that this set celebrates Tarkir, and I hope that people take a second. I know that we're really, we're chugging right along towards Final Fantasy, and this is merely a speed bump.
Yeah.
It feels like sometimes. But
hopefully,
dang it, it's a great speed bump.
Have fun when your car goes into the air for that 0.5 seconds while you're going over this bump at 80 miles an hour.
Let it launch you.
Don't go over speed bumps at 80 miles an hour, please.
This is not
not a
click
car.
And clack.
A click and clack, the Tafford brothers. Even though we have been called that of the Magic Podcast world, to which I find great joy in such a comment.
Same.
Don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother.
Megan, before we go on, I also said you would give your reaction to Avatar being announced as an upcoming Magic set.
That was me high-fiving myself.
Yeah. Because you called it.
I did call it.
Before, there was some people said there was a clue on Arena or whatever.
Oh, I had no idea.
No, you didn't know. You had no clue.
I just felt it in my heart.
And you're right.
Of hearts.
How do you feel about it coming up?
I'm so excited. I get, I get people's excitement for other stuff.
Yeah.
I respect and appreciate it from a distance, from an emotional distance.
Yeah.
But this is my version of that. I love
this is
Avatar
your
The Last
thing.
Airbender. It's great. I think it is honestly, of all the stuff that you could make into a Magic set, like Lord of the Rings is very obvious. I think that Avatar is a really great thematic and vibe fit.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really, really it's such a sweet and wholesome show at the end of the day, but it also has there's so much internal conflict in it. There's so much great storytelling in it. I think it's really good.
Well, I'll be excited through you since you know about it. And I really don't know that much.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first episode. So
wow.
Maybe I got to go in and to do some research. Wink, wink, wink. I'm going to do that with Final Fantasy, by the way.
All right.
I'm going to play one of the Final Fantasy games.
I was going to say, someone said that I could play one of them on my Switch.
You can.
So I'll do that.
Yeah, you can play them on Switch. And they're turn-based combat, which I love turn-based combat.
All right.
So that made me, once I learned that, I was like, oh, well, what the heck? I'm in.
I'll try it.
Okay,
let's
so
go.
We'll be doing some studying for the upcoming sets for sure. Let's thank our sponsors, Megan. What do you say?
I love that idea.
Yeah, isn't it great? I just thought of it.
Yeah. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Card Kingdom, cardkingdom.com/GLHF, the place to go to get all of the singles that you'll need from Ether Drift since you're not buying and drafting it.
You're going to need those singles somehow.
You're going to need the singles, and, no one's vibing on the full set, but you can get exactly and only exactly what you need.
Yes, and Card Kingdom will ship your order in one package, so you don't have to wait around at your house for 5 different packages. They have one of them get lost in the mail. Check them out at cardkingdom.com/GLHF to get whatever you need for your magical life. I personally love Ether Drift Draft, and I do highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. So you can get a box and draft with your friends because it is a very cool format. And there's like Megan said, lots of cool singles that you might want to pick up for your commander decks or whatnot. Maybe some blinged out cards. Card Kingdom has it all. Thank you as well to Dragon Shield. I almost said Dragonstorm.
Whoa. We're entering the era of Dragon Shield.
Yes,
JK, we've always been in the era of Dragon Shield because their sleeves are so
that
great.
Too, yeah. It's so true.
They're so great. If you get sleeves from them online, you can get tons of great art or just great colors. If you go to your local game store, you can always get them in tons of great colors. And if you go to a Magic Con, they tend to have lots of different special sleeves there
that you can only get at the con.
Great and so cute and so cool.
Yeah, so Dragon Shield, their line was so long at Magic Con Chicago because everybody was lining up to get their black on black logo sleeves with a gold
they were
center.
So good.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
We do show them off on an upcoming episode of Commander Arcade because they're so ding cool.
Yes.
They just have so many different designs. They're all really awesome. They have a very cool 25th anniversary sleeves that you can check out, which are silver, that they have for sale right now. I think they were sold out for a period of time, but now they're not anymore.
A hot mo.
Do you want sleeves of Mona Lisa holding a dragon? Of course you do. Guess what? They sell them. And pretty soon in the near future, they're going to be selling some Good Luck High Five exclusive sleeves.
Whoa.
I know, I'm so excited.
Yes.
So hopefully before too long, it shouldn't be too long now, you're going to be able to buy some GLHF sleeves from Card Kingdom, which we are so excited to tell you about once that hits. But check them out now using the link below the video or in the show notes. Use code GLHF at checkout for 5% off. Speaking of upcoming sets, Spider-Man.
I refuse to talk about.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do in this segment
Question mark.
Because it's coming up.
It's so far away.
It's September 26th is when it releases. And there's already Magic cards that have been previewed.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's talk about them.
Spiderman.
Sensational Spiderman.
The Sensational Spiderman. The set symbol is a speeder.
Yes.
Which is very cute.
Obviously.
They've released 6 cards from the set. Full art treatments, including Spiderman himself, which, if you had to guess what color Spider-Man was going to be, Azorius would probably have been one of my guesses.
I would have guessed red and blue because that's his outfit.
Great guess.
I'm just a visual person. That's the way I would have gone. I would have been like, this guy's red blue.
He's
Why?
such a law-abiding boy, though. You know what I mean?
He is a law-abiding boy. You're right.
So he costs 1 white blue for a 3/3. He's a spider human hero, by the way, is his creature type.
Of course he is.
Some people are like, oh, are we going to have heroes come back some more? So
yeah.
Anyway, whenever he attack, tap target creature defending player controls and put a stun counter on it because probably he webbed it.
Yeah.
Then you may remove up to 3 stun counters from among all permanents. Draw cards equal to the number of stun counters removed this way.
Whoa. All right. I like this card.
Megan suddenly
As a card? Okay.
Suddenly you want to talk about this.
Well, I do want to talk about drawing cards. Draw cards?
Yep.
Okay.
He draw a card. And then we saw some of his most recognizable, epic villains, his nemesis.
Yes.
Including Doc Ock, one of my faves.
I do love Doc Ock.
Me too. I love him. He's so cool.
I will say this
Probably
art,
also because Alfred Molina.
I was going to say this art could have looked more like Alfred Molina for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that you should have just made a photograph of Alfred Molina, the art.
Put it on the card. I agree. He is impeccable, and he was great as Doc Ock.
He was great. He was really great.
5 blue black for an 8/8 human scientist villain. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an 8/8 robot villain artifact creature in addition to its other types.
Whoa. All right.
He make robot.
He make 8. He 8/8. He make 8/8.
Nice.
Obviously, there's Green Goblin Nemesis. I would have made green black just again based on the outfit.
I love it. I mean, like, you're not wrong in a
I
way.
would have made Doc Ock blue-green.
Like, the outfit, he is a green goblin and he's not green.
I'm really learning something about myself.
Well, he's Rakdos colors and you're like, yes, that's right.
That's right. But also, he green.
He's the green goblin.
Green.
He's not the Rakdos goblin. That's a different card.
goblin.
Does that card exist?
The Rakdos Goblin. Anyways,
You read
okay.
it.
3/3 flying. Whenever you discard a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on target goblin you control. Whenever you discard a land card, create a tapped treasure token.
There is not a card called Rakdos Goblin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They haven't yet reached that bottom of the barrel in card names. thankfully.
We also know there's pumpkin bombs. I love them.
I love these pumpkin
That's
bombs.
true.
They're cute.
They should be orange. They're one in a red.
Yeah.
They're one in a red for an artifact. Tap, discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards, then put a fuse counter on this artifact. It deals damage equal to the number of fuse counters on it to target opponent. They gain control of this artifact. This is pretty sick.
I love these little pumpkin bombs.
Yeah, they're great.
And I love that the Green Goblin throws them. Like, what a dumb weapon.
Yeah.
A pumpkin bomb?
A pumpkin bomb.
What is it, Halloween? Get real.
In some worlds. In some worlds.
It's
It's
Halloween somewhere. Like it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's Halloween somewhere.
Around the globe. Well, hey, the southern hemisphere, the seasons are swapped.
So I assume that they have spring Halloween.
Yeah, Springoween. Okay.
Springoween.
No,
all right.
Didn't say that. Didn't say that. Next card I'm talking about is Venom. Venom Deadly Devourer. 2 black green. What color should he have been, Megan?
Oh, white black.
Yeah, 4/4. Symbiote villain. Vigilance Menace 3. Exile target creature card from a graveyard. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on target symbiote, where X is the exiled card's toughness.
Yeah.
But guess what? Doc Ock also comes with his tenties.
Yes, Grasping Tentacles, 1 blue black. Sorcery, target opponent mills 8 cards. You may put an artifact card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
And then Doc Ock make it an 8/8.
Yeah, and then he make it an 8/8.
Something cool about these 6 cards they revealed is you can put them together, the borderless versions, and they make a little mural. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Scene.
A scene.
Right, because there's gonna be a box called the Scene Box.
Oh.
Which come with the scene.
Sort of like they did with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm just wondering if Madam Web's going to be in this set.
Oh.
Her web connects us all.
Her web
after
does
all.
connect us all.
So
No, they're trying to amnesia everybody about that.
Is she going to be holding a Pepsi can and never drink from it? Is that going to happen?
Is she going to drive an ambulance
through a billboard?
How did she get there? Ever figuring out how she got up there?
Please become a patron at our highest level because then you can listen to our Madam Web rant.
It's really
from many episodes
ago.
The
number one reason to become a producer.
But I think we talk about some.
I think we talked about it for half an
stuff.
hour, and honestly, we could have kept going.
I could do a full 10-episode series on Madam Web.
We've threatened it.
10 episodes.
Consider
Dakota Johnson, call us. I have now her coat from that movie.
All right.
It wasn't because I just realized I bought it and I was like, wait, this is the same as her coat. And I'm like, oh, I can be Madam Web for Halloween. I can read.
You have to walk around with a Pepsi can though.
Yeah, for sure. And like, just keep like, look like I'm going to open it. Not open it.
Not open it.
Not going to open it. And then I'm going to mansplain to my friends who are doing a barbecue that they're bad at it and how to run a grill. For no reason.
I thought that for sure someone was going to get burned, but it didn't happen.
I also thought that.
Like, why put that grill in there if someone's not going to get hurt by it?
I thought this is exact
Chekhov's
same thing.
grill.
And then I said, why is anybody friends with her? Anybody.
She sucks.
She is not fun to be around in any
friend.
way. She like ruins this baby shower by being sad about stuff that she should have dealt with 30 years ago.
It's rough.
Anyway, we're not going to get started on it because that's for producers. That kind of curse knowledge is for producers only.
Is it going to be Madam Web Part 2?
Yeah.
It's going to be our producer segment.
I dearly hope there's a Madam Web card in this set. She occurs in those Spider-Man comics, so, it could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen. Anyway, September, Spider-Man's happening.
Woof, too much, but okay.
People said, they're like, I don't know how I'm going to feel if in Standard we're at the Pro Tour and Marshall has to be like, he attacks a Spider-Man. And I just got to say, looking at these cards now, I am getting a funny feeling about it.
I get it, man.
It's going to be a little weird. It's going to be weird. Doc Ock blocks.
You could have you could have Doc Ock artifacts. Your standard deck of choice.
That's the standard deck. Doc Ock artifacts.
Yep.
It could happen. Anyway, and I'm not saying I'm still not trying to diss on Universes Beyond sets, though. If you are, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this
is a safe diss space.
This is a safe space for either opinion. But I just seeing them, something struck a chord in me and being like, ooh.
I get it.
So come September, come Spider-Man. You know what I mean? So sorry I said it that way.
Spring Halloween.
Sorry I said everything. Oh my God. We're going to play Flavor Text Theater Friends with a pack of Ether Drift, the set that is currently out and that no one has forgotten about.
We definitely remember it.
We remember it. I actually love the draft format, being real with you.
It is actually super fun.
It's very fun. And we're going to crack open this pack and pitch you movies based on the card names that we open within. Now, Megan, is your rule intact for this that you were going to set?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Maria. This is a very special Flavor Text Theater movie pitches in that each of these has to be a part of the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so we were pitching a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
Whatever number we feel is appropriate.
Yeah.
For our pitch.
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right, here's look, everyone in the crew it's just been too much for them. They're at the end of their ropes. They all leave cars behind.
What?
They go work normal jobs. They work at insurance companies.
So normal.
Actually, that one's ironic because they work at car insurance. Whoa,
yeah,
right. They just work in normal boring jobs, and they're not in touch anymore. And they just the magic's not there the way it used to be.
Family.
Exactly. But then of course they have to come together for one last job in Fast and Furious Stall Out.
What number is this?
Oh, 15 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, 15.
All right, so my Fast and Furious, this one, you're like, what could they possibly do next? Which is a question I have about what's 11. Like, what possibly could happen that they haven't done? They're going to Hawaii.
All right, sick.
I don't know if they've ever done that, really. And the reason they're going is because there's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event where one of the volcanoes in Hawaii chain is erupting.
Ooh.
Okay. And so what's going to happen is they have their...
whatever you say, I'm already into it, and they will do this.
I think this is a good idea as I'm saying it.
Let's hear it.
So it's a race across the entire island chain, okay?
Oh, hell yeah.
So, and at the end, the volcano is going to erupt. Like, that's the capstone of the race. And the way that they what's going to happen in the climax is, of course, that the volcano is going to erupt and the car is going to surf on the lava flow.
Yep, absolutely.
Out of the volcano.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what's happening. Yeah. And who they have to race against is somebody from the past. That, someone from Dom's past who he's wronged. It's their kid.
Yep.
Come back.
A classic.
Yeah. So you're like,
Die Hard 3.
You've killed my dad in a race or whatever. He bought a bad DVD player from you from the first movie.
He bought a bad DVD player from you.
And now that's
the one that we're going to go with.
Avenge him in this race against you and your crew. And anyway, so that's the nemesis of this one. And the kid has a sweet car that's he's from Hawaii, so he's built it pretty sick with it's able to withstand the extreme heat of an erupting volcano.
Yeah.
And he puts a bunch of guns and turrets on the car, so it's like a tank plus a race car, but fast. And that's the premise of this movie in Magma-kin Artillerist.
Nice.
That's Fast 25.
Fast 25.
Yeah.
All right. In this one, they go to the midst of the desert. What desert? Pick a desert. I don't care.
Okay.
They're in the desert and they're racing, but they're not racing for glory or for anything, or for anything like that. They're racing because by racing cars in this desert, they're actually turning it into a viable habitat. They're racing their cars so fast it churns all the sand into tillable soil.
They're leaving water trails with seeds and stuff.
They're leaving trails of water and seeds.
They're fixing global warming?
Yes, in Fast and Furious blossoming sands. That's like 28. That's
Yeah,
way
that
down
one's
there.
way
Fast and
down
Furious
there.
28 Blossoming
Okay.
Sands.
This one, the writers are running out of ideas, unfortunately, but they still have been contracted. They're going to make this movie come hell or high
I have
water.
one that is so stupid already. Sorry, keep going.
This one's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
So this race, there's no way to not spoil the name of this movie and me trying to describe what happens.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, at the top of the movie, wow, Lawrence Fishburne is there. What is he doing? He has his hands out and he says to Dom, do you take the red pill or the blue pill?
Are you on purpose saying that it's Lawrence Fishburne?
Wait, who am I thinking of?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay, yeah. That's the actor, right? I didn't just make up. Hold on, we gotta Google this. I don't want to say the wrong name of somebody who is not the person I'm thinking of who offers the red and the blue. Yeah, if it's Lawrence Fishburne. Offers the red and the blue pill. And he's like, yeah, I'll take the red pill, man. Of course, I'm Dom. There's no way he's not taking it.
Yeah.
And he wake up, in the Matrix, right? And so it's a crossover between the Matrix and Fast and the Furious.
It is just a straight up crossover. I'm into it.
Yeah, and he has to drive the car in the actual world. That's, of course, a hellscape.
Yeah.
With people sleeping in goop pods.
Yep.
Because Keanu Reeves long gone at this point.
Yeah.
Turns out he wasn't Jesus. Didn't save everything.
Okay.
I can't remember how the last movie ended. I did see it in theaters, though. And he's got to drive the world to save the world.
Yeah.
In Godlight Matrix.
Knew it.
There it is. Foil.
All
No big
right.
deal. That's Fast 55.
In this one, they're like, do you know what's stopping our cars from going faster? Like literally like the mechanics of like fuel injection systems, right?
Yeah.
So like obviously
Probably
the way
literally.
that we can get this car to go faster is if we are manually fueling it. Kind of like back when they had trains with coal engines, the way they would shovel more and
gas.
more coal. So no, they're like, we're gonna make a coal-powered car.
You mean a train?
Because it has wheels and it's not on a track.
Okay.
They're making a coal-powered car that way they can shovel. They can see how fast it can go by just shoveling, right? Like obviously, like Vin Diesel's gonna just be like jacked, right? Like shoveling
out of
this
his
coal.
mind.
And also, The Rock is like there and he's jacked, and they're both like shoveling coal as fast as they can to make this enormous car go as fast as it can. And it does look like a train in Fast and Furious coal stoke gear hole. That's like Fast and Furious 40.
I cannot beat that. That is a great concept.
Just them, right? Because you can also kind of see it happening,
Yes.
which I think is also true of the volcano one. There is a point
Yeah.
at which they are going
They're
to
going to
drive
surf
a
down
car.
the lava volcano.
Yes, or they're going to just be like barely outrunning
Yep.
like the lava of a volcano or something,
It's
or like
gonna
driving
happen.
on it as it cools.
See, what I'm saying is it's going to erupt
Yes.
and shoot their car into the air.
and then they're going
they
to drive
surf
down,
it down.
the yeah, like that's going to happen, and also they're going to both shovel coal
Coal
into a car.
And then they're going to be like, because Dom's going to be like, what's faster than gas?
Yeah.
Coal. And people are going to be like, in the audience, like, is that true?
That's not true. And everyone's like, no,
just
look,
accept it.
I also keep saying this, which is that if they truly wanted the car that went from 0 to 100 at the fastest possible, you know what car that is?
A spaceship.
I mean, okay, yeah. All right, that time you got me. That's an electric car.
Oh,
Like the
it's
acceleration on
faster.
an electric car is wild because it doesn't have to like change gears
yeah.
or anything. I regularly, when I have driven my friend's
Interesting.
electric car, you just accidentally go like 85 on a highway because
it
feels, it's so smooth and it doesn't care.
Wow.
It just go. So it's always wild to me when they're like, we're going to race really fast. And I'm like, get yourself into an electric car.
Maybe that's what they're using in Blossoming Sands because they're
That's
solving
true.
climate change.
It is one that's about climate change.
My next movie is just he wears the car. He wears it.
Tell me
Because
the name.
he's got to integrate himself to the car. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like he needs to become
He
the
has to
car.
interface it.
With his body in a weird biomechanical way. And he wears the car like a mech suit.
Yep, absolutely.
So
he does.
Dom and the car are one and the same.
Also, this is a direction that it truly could head. This is like a real direction that they might go.
I thought I was saying something ridiculous, and I started talking. I'm like, no,
they're going to do this
do
at some point. Yes.
They're absolutely going to do this. They are car-based
Car,
superheroes,
but mech suit.
and he's going to be a mech suit, and it's called Ether Jacket because he wears it like a jacket. He like puts it on, and he become car.
All of the previous villains who have ever died in the series come back.
Oh my god!
and he has to fight them all at once in Deathless Pilot.
Oh, nice.
Fast and Furious Deathless Pilot.
And it's a pilot for the next series of Fast and Furious movies at the same time because they're getting it a TV series or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. This is the last movie in the Fast and the Furious series.
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
What they do is Dom and the crew have to go to hell. Because insert reason here.
Sure. Yeah.
They've got to try. He's trying to save his kid probably or something. You know?
Yeah, why wouldn't he be?
You know, and they're like, well, there's only one place he can go. I gotta go to hell. And they're like, is that real? Turns out it is. And they gotta go and rescue the kid from the grips of Hades and Satan's cold, fiery grasp in Ride's End.
This is one where
title.
they drive a car so fast it breaks the sound barrier, and they're like, you can't go any fast. Nope. They drive a car so fast it breaks the sound barrier, and then Vin Diesel's like, it can go even faster, and they're like, no, it can't. And he's like, I'm gonna drive it even faster. And then he does, and he disappears. It's because he drove the car so fast he drove it into the past.
Yes.
And Fast and Furious push the limit.
By the way, I just Googled, has a car broken the sound barrier?
Yeah.
And yes, indeed it has. In 1997 was the first vehicle to do it. So
wow. All right, they're just treading all. That's why he has to drive it so fast. It goes back in time.
These ideas are so good that I would be shocked if one of them does not end up.
I feel like multiples of them could end up
in the series.
And
he's always like, "Oh, we're done. We're not making another one." And always he makes another one.
What else are you gonna do with your time?
Like that's
what else is Tom Cruise doing?
Just making
Mission making Mission Impossible films.
You know. So it's like you just can't shut the door on who you truly are.
Yeah.
Dominic Toretto, we see you.
We see you.
Well, friends, thank you for listening to this episode of Good Luck High Five and joining us for this trip.
Yes.
Down both memory lane and future lane.
And Fast and Furious lane.
I thought
that was the most important one that you're in it, like the fast lane and the furious lane.
Oh my God. Yes, on the highway, did you know there's a fast lane and a furious lane?
Yeah, like the left lane is the fast lane, but the middle lane's the furious lane.
Yeah, for real. Because you're going to be mad no matter what.
Yes.
Thank you to our patrons who support us over on patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
You make this all possible.
Thank you to Card Kingdom and Dragon Shield for being two of our incredible sponsors. Check out our Commander show. It's called Commander Arcade. It's at youtube.com/@GLHF Commander. We have a video up now where we play Commander Cube. We talked about it a little last week. It's a very cool format.
It's so cool.
You got to check it out.
It's really great.
And yeah, very excited for previews to start for Tarkir Dragonstorm.
I'm really excited for the next car that breaks the sound barrier.
And for the next Fast and Furious movie for sure.